this summer I bought this guitar that looks, well, like any vintage Archtop from the 50s, but it didn't have a particular name on it. But I put it on a site and asked their advice, and they assured me it was most likely to be a Klira. I've looked on the inside of the bodywork, roughly there, on the inside, and it's 57 written, so basically it's a 57 Triumphator, I think, Klira. So I sent her for the decals to be made, and obviously got those on after I've restored the bodywork a little bit. Took out the chips and scratches and polished it, and she came out beautiful. Really, really thick neck on it, but plays beautifully. Nice tone. Anyway, that set me off from wanting to have the rest of the Hofner collection. Not all of the obvious ones, I'll show you those now. The first one that came my way was a gift from my dad, because inside this is the only guitar in my collection that's got no date stamped or penciled on. But it's safe to say there is a truss rod, so it's beyond 60. It's a Hofner Congress, which is the entry-level guitar. Didn't have to do much to this because it's in very good condition anyway. So basically took out a few chips around the lower and upper belts on the back. Couldn't really do it again, because as I've done the other guitars I've got better at it. But oh yeah, and I've fitted an aftermarket pickup onto a pick guard which I cut from some blank perspex. No, it's not perspex, what is it? Not sure, but it's blank purloined. Cut the shape, fitted the jack plug socket, and got a logo sent in from Canada, which hasn't turned out too brilliant. It's okay, but I think it broke up a little bit during lacquering, but anyway. It's a lovely tone again. The intonation is pretty close to perfect. I had to change the keys, turnstile keys, because the original ones, well not all of them, but one of them disintegrated to a point it fell off. So that's that. Right, there's that one. Yeah, that's correct. Put that back. eBay for £1,100. It's called a 456S, and this is basically, as far as I can work out, is a top of the range President Hofner, where it may predecede, because it's a number. Hofners used to categorise their guitar manufacture by numbers and not names until Selma, the importers, became involved, and then they named them. So this is just prior to that. This is the 59. And on the inside of the bodywork, I believe it's March 59 manufactured. Yeah, so all of the electrics work. So I've not really done much to this. Well, when I got this, there was a line which looked like a crack along there. I was filling that with lacquer over time, over weeks it took. Eventually the crack or split partially filled, but in doing so, after rubbing down afterwards with some light gauge kind of teacup, but it's brass, so just your average household brass, because it's more, well, there's less, it's a gentler teacup, if you like, does it less harshly. But anyway, I took some colour out, and in the end, a little despondent, then gave up on that, but it's beautiful enough as it is, so that's great. All the electrics work, obviously, everything original there. It's a great jazzy sound to it. Anyway, this one I swapped my Fender Telecaster Custom. I took this one and I swapped that and added cash on top, because the Fender was probably worth, it was brand new, it was 900, and then second hand value maybe around 6. So I was outstanding 5, but I think the fella did me a small favour and I took along 3 plus the guitar, and we did a straight swap, if you can call it that. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So the next one to get was right. This one was with the same man from Felixstowe who I was meeting him at Ipswich. Is a Hofner Senator, and this is he thought it was a 1960. Turns out it's a 1958. Started manufacturing these in 53. This is a 58. Again, it's got a lovely action. It's a bit more mellow sound to this one. It came with a damaged area right there, which was all crushed in. I didn't get any new binding, which apparently is easy enough to get, but it just didn't occur to me to get it. So I've basically fixed that one and added some blonde nitro cellulose paint on the top. I've still got to lacquer that to make it more glazed on the surface, but it's an okay job. Obviously I'll strip all of these guitars down and get them taken back to, because some of them turn up flat and some misting on the lacquer, so I'll cut the pick guard out obviously. So generally it turned up in a shape. I did the pickup obviously straight to the neck. Yeah, good sound. Yeah, beautiful thing. So that came, is the one. This came with a Hofner Congress, which is odd because I'd just been given one by my dad. But this turned up with no, I don't know if you call it furniture, but no bits, no bridge, no tailpiece, no pickup, no tuning keys. I negotiated to keep the nut for doing a string guide. I'll show you that now. So it's beautiful now, but this turned up with no sheen to it at all. It was flat. It had no parts on it at all. It was just the head. It was the body and the neck, and it had already distorted out of shape. The neck had to come off. I was just testing to see how loose it was, because you're supposed to steam these off or warm damp, which is basically water would do it. But anyway, a little bit of pressure there and the thing snapped straight off, which sounded horrific, like a breaking limb or something. But anyway, I set about getting the sheen back on there with the brass as usual. Yeah, so I re-glued the neck, cranked that over a couple of days, bought the tailpiece, put that on, same. The bridge came in from China, the tailpiece China, the pickup was, I think that was China as well, but it came from English stockists. Same with the machine heads, China do everything these days. and just basically polished everything. Cut out the pick guard from a blank again, did that in tortoise shell, and overall came out marvellous. Obviously this one is a 58, it's got that written on the inside again above the top right F hole, left hole, anyway, the F hole. Yeah, so all good. Anyway, that Senator and this Hofner was, how much was it? Right, no cash involved, that's where that went. I had a bass amp that Paul had bought me 15 plus years ago. I had a, I can't remember it, an amp, 50 watt amp, quite a big amp to look at. And I swapped that in with a couple of them. There was studio monitors with amp, little combo thing, stereo size, so basically 3 amps if you like. Oh, and the guitar, which was only £300 to buy originally, was a Dean Palomino, which, so them 4 items basically got swapped in for, that guitar was the point, and this one was just given to me. He says, there's a project, you know, I like to do things up and go anyway. So I think I've got quite a bargain on that, 2 guitars, in saleable condition now. This would probably be worth maybe minimum 250, at the most 400. Senator would be between 5 and 7 depending on the buyer. So if you say 3 for this one and 5 for that one is 8, then the Dean guitar 9, 10, 11. Arguably I was ripped off, but I don't think so because I was never using those amps anyway. And the Dean had a tremolo, a Bigsby on it, but even then it was a big heavy clunky guitar and I really wanted to expand my Hofner collection, so that is now achieved. So I've got 2 Congress instead of the 1, and that's that one, which is a beautiful thing now. A couple of weeks later we're off to Swindon because this President was for sale, Hofner President 1959, for sale on eBay. It had been there for months, nobody wanted it. We originally had it up for about, I think it was 450, 480 even. So probably too much money. I mean, it's in good condition. All I've done to this is cut a pick guard out and place on one of those aftermarket pickups again on the neck. And that's it, really, apart from giving it a good shine up. I took it apart like I do with all of them. Brasso shine it back to new-ish. And again, sounds pretty good. If I can get away with this, hang on. Look. Whoa, wait. There it is. Really should practice more. Anyway, the price for that one was in the area after the 450. Then he knocked it down to a price of closer to 390, 400. And on the day when I went to Swindon to his home, he had Gibsons everywhere, by the way. The man wasn't short of money. Lived with his mum. No point to that other than it was a bit like, well, I mean, Gibsons, I don't know what they cost, 15, 1800 for acoustics, I mean. Anyway, this was sitting there unloved in the corner, no case or anything. And there's a small not defects so much. Where was it? It's just got so hard to find. There's something about the neck which basically I negotiated him down and dropped the price a little. What was it? It's that minor, I can't even see it without my glasses on. But I suggested that the neck may give over time, which any guitar can anyway. But no, I can't see it. Anyway, we talked about it could be weakened by this small imperfection, which is not that obvious. I can't see it right now with the glasses on. Anyway, I managed to get it for £340, £340. And he's currently going for, but there was one just up the road in Bristol, same spec, no pickups, and that was for, it still is, it's on there right now to this day, £900, 8.5 or something, so £900 for this, not this, but that guitar, which is the same spec. There's a fella in America selling one of these for $3,000. It really depends, it's a buyer's market, it depends on what you're prepared to pay. This is in really good condition for £340, it's crazy. Nothing, no dents and scratches. Yeah, it's just a 1959 Hofner President, fantastic. Something rattling in there to get on my nerves to deal with it. Anyway, yeah, so that was it really. So I've now got 2 Congress. Started all this with what we potentially assuming is a Klira, because there's no specific name of it on it. So a few people's judgment of it was yes, that's definitely Klira, the reverse upside down pickguard look to it, and that started the ball rolling. At the same point my dad gave me the Hofner Congress, which I learned to play on. He taught me the first 3 or 4 chords, and then I was off and running about the age of 14. Anyway, so then I did the purchase of a 456, which looks like this, the President, but it's electrified and pick guards, and it predates this not by much, about 6 months to a year. But the only one in my opinion that hadn't been purchased, which was really a part of my collection I want to have, is the Committee. I mean, still want the acoustic one with no pickups on it, which has got a larger headstock. Like this is quite typical of the Hofner shape, but obviously the one I mean about the predates is from 53 again, I think up till 59 or 60. It's got a tree-like, giant-looking headstock with open tuners rather than these are closed in. It's probably one of the very first guitars Hofner did with the tuners closed in. This is a 64 Committee E2, and the E part is electric obviously, and the 2 would be the 2 pickups. If it had 1 pickup it would be an E1, but it's an E2 because of the 2 pickups. The pots at that point, 64, had gone individually onto the front panel. Pre that they'd been on a single like Paul McCartney bass, which I've got a copy of there, but with A panel with the 4, or just there 2 actually, 2 tuning pots on it. But this the 64 has got the same pickguard, just mysterious as the Golden Hofner it's called, which basically looks like a Committee, but everything on it, like the metalwork, tailpiece, etc., pickups, are all gold plated, like actual gold plate. But this isn't one of those, but apparently it costs more. I've looked this up. This costs more than the Golden Hofner in 1964. The Golden Hofner was 95 guineas, and this cost £110. So this was slightly more in price than their very top of the range guitar. But this is still one of their top end guitars. And when you pick it up and play after 61 years, you know why. I mean, you can't say, oh, there's massive difference between this and the other guitars, other than this is a warmer sound, because it's got a bigger bout. The bottom bout is kind of massive compared to the other ones I've got. But the sound of this, yeah, lovely. Like I say, I would like to buy a couple of Hofners. Obviously become a Hofner purist now, but it's all about what prices, availability, but this is where I ended up in life, being a Hofner guitarist. Slightly out of tune. But not enough to mess around with right now. Yeah, so this is my prized possession. The Hofner Committee E2. 1964, written on the inside of the top panel. It took 3 months to make because it's dated from the 6th until the 9th of 1963 when it was finished completely. Obviously they must have put the top panel on the last week before it was possibly sprayed. I don't know what system they do, but yeah, the top panel has got written on it 6/9 1963. Which is lovely. So if you look at it, this began manufacture, well, 6 months before I was even born. Yeah. So that's me. This is my Hofner collection. Beautiful they are.